Hello guys, welcome back. And I have another game for you for one of the players who I think everyone should keep their eyes out on, and it's Mehul Gohil. So the gorilla is a very interesting player because this guy, I mean, many people have heard me say or call him Mariah Carey because whenever it's Christmas time, this guy just defrosts from wherever he was. I mean, Gohil, whenever it's time to win the national championship, this guy plays incredible chess. So when it comes to the talk of the players who we think might win the national championship, Gohil, Gohil's name has to be there. So let's look at this game. This game was played during the 2023 Bungoma Open. I think this was the most recent open tournament. Completely open tournament. I think it was the most recent one. So it was Mehul Gohil facing James Panchol, and let's see how the game went. So Gohil opened pawn to d4, knight f6, and went for the Tromposky with bishop to g5, pawn to c5. A very interesting way to counter the Tromposky attack because I've never seen this before this game actually. And now pawn to d5, queen to b6, going for the poison pawn variation, and then Gohil just accepts it, and Panchol takes on b2. Bishop comes back to d2. Queen goes back to b6 to prevent being trapped with maybe pawn to a3 and stuff of that nature. So pawn to e4, pawn to d6, and now rook to b1, chasing the queen all the way back to d8, and now pawn to f4. And if you look at this position, in exchange for the pawn on b2, actually that pawn on b2 has given the rook on b1 a completely not completely open but semi-open file, and all black's pieces are on their starting squares except for the knight on f6. If you look at white's position, white has this very beautiful pawn structure in the center of the board. The bishop and the knight are developed. The knight on g1 and the bishop on f1 only have, I think, a few moves to development, and it's easier for white to play this position than black, and this is when your opening preparation just hits the spot, and I think Gohil's opening preparation here just worked tremendously, and he got this amazing position straight from the opening. So pawn to g6 by Panchol, and now knight to f3, pawn to a6, pawn to a4, stopping any b5 ideas, bishop to g7, bishop to e2, castles, and now knight to g4, pawn to h3, and Panchol jumped immediately knight to e3. Another move that's playable in this position is bishop takes on c3, and after bishop captures back, you now play knight to e3, queen moves, you take on f1, bishop takes back, and you play this position as black where you don't really have any pieces developed. You can maybe try and play something like knight to d7 and then go with knight to f6 and play that position in that way, but then you have to be really careful because then this bishop just slices through the board on this diagonal, and it's going to be very tricky to defend it. But in exchange, you got like a bunch of material. You have a pawn and an exchange, your opponent and an exchange up, I think, in this position, and it can be played. It's a position that can be played, and it will be very interesting to see what would have happened if the game went in this direction. But Panchol went immediately with knight to e3, bishop takes on e3, bishop takes on c3, and now pawn to e5, queen to b5. I have no idea what the queen went to a5. I have no idea why the queen went to a5. Maybe to attack the pawn on a4 and create these passes on the queen side. But then Gohil just played rook to b3, indirectly defending the pawn on e4. Because now if you take the pawn on e4, then you lose your bishop on c3. Easy stuff, no one can miss this. So after rook to b3, you can't really take the pawn on e4. And now Panchol took in the center. Gohil took back and played knight to d7, which looks like a very normal move. It looks like a move that you should be able to play attacking the pawn on e5, but the position is already winning for white. You can try and find the best move in this position. You can take your time if you want to, but then I'm going to show it. And Gohil found the most precise way to continue with this game, and he played bishop to h6 first. Okay, before playing the move that actually wins the game, because bishop to h6 allows black to actually stay in the game somewhat. You don't really stay in the game per se, because then you have to take on e5 and play this position where bishop takes on f8, and after king takes back you play this position where maybe even pawn to e6 is possible, and you try and argue and you try and tell yourself that as black you've sacrificed the material, but then it's not really sacrificing but giving back the material, maybe trying to play this position as it is. But then Panchol wanted to keep a hold of the position and played rook to d8, which is now completely losing after pawn to e6, because then everything now just falls apart. He played knight to f6, decent try, and now queen to d3 is even possible, attacking the bishop on c3. You can't do anything about it. You can't really move that bishop. So bishop to e4 with check was played, knight takes on e4, pawn takes on e4, and now queen takes to e4. Nasty position. Even queen takes on d4 is possible, pawn takes, and now again you can try and pause and find the winning idea in this position, but Gohil was playing this, I mean, he was just converting this position excellently. He played rook takes on f6, brilliant move, incredible sacrifice. And here you, what can you do? Whether you take back or not, you're completely losing this position, whether you like it or not, because rook on f8 with check. After rook takes back on f8, it will be checkmate on g7, so you can't do anything to stop it. So Panchol played pawn to e5. These are resignation moves, but then you're kind of hoping that it might work out for you. But then Gohil, ice in his veins, just plays queen takes on e5, and after pawn takes, he doesn't take on f6, because then if you take on f6, the bishop, or the queen rather, can maybe try and come back and defend the position in some way, or even a move. I'm not too sure if you take on f6. I'm not too sure about it, because I don't see how you defend this position at all. But Gohil played queen to e7, and you can't defend checkmate. This is the fastest and the cleanest way. So with this, Gohil beat Panchol. He went on to actually win the Bungoma Open, as he had won the Moranga Open. And I'm telling you guys, whenever it's close to the Christmas period, Gohil just, this guy just resurrects and he becomes a very nasty player. He's a very dangerous player on his day, and it's going to be interesting seeing how he's going to fare up against the other players. So the players who are playing the nationals, who are actually the other names that I'd like to mention, maybe like Ben Magana is actually a big name that could cause a lot of, he could win, what am I saying? And the other players, maybe Hugh Misiko could have a decent shout, because he's a finalist. I think he competed last year. He lost on tie breaks. Actually, tie breaks. They played tie breaks with Gohil, and Gohil went to the cup. But Hugh Misiko is actually a very dangerous player, and many people sleep on him. There's also a decent shot of Victor Ngani, and uh, already, he's already won a national championship before. And I'm going to be looking for some of their games. I want to put some of the games and really get people hyped up for the tournament, because I guess if the because of the way the juniors are coming up, not really the juniors, but even this age of brand, the many brands, I mean, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be a crazy year. This could very much probably be the end of these what do they call themselves, I'm not too sure, but this older generation could be the end of them winning the national championship. You can never know, but then it looks really bright for the young Turks, and it's going to be an interesting national championship to actually follow. So yeah, this was the game, Gohil versus Panchol, and I think Gohil is going to be a very, very dangerous player during this nationals. So I'm going to be covering more of their games. I'm going to be covering the games from the national championship. Stay tuned. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and keep the channel growing. That's all. So yeah.